Imagine being raised entirely off the grid in the Alaskan wilderness, surrounded solely by your family and the pure energy of nature. However, things are more complicated on the inside than they seem. Matt Brown, the eldest son of the Alaskan Bush People, lived this life. The outside world viewed Matt as a courageous survivor, despite the fact that he was battling something considerably more sinister: addiction, conflict with his family, and a journey that would take him far from home. We're delving deeply into Matt Brown's rise and downfall today, revealing his tale of fame, family, and his pursuit of redemption against terrible tragedy. Matt Brown, an Alaskan Bush People performer, has experienced hardship, rejection, and public censure throughout his life. The Discovery Channel program followed the Brown family as they lived off the grid in the Alaskan Arctic. The family gained notoriety for their odd lifestyle, dedication to one another, and fortitude in the face of tragedy. They were known for leading tough, independent lives. But as viewers' interest in the Browns' lives grew, they started to see a different aspect of the tale. The oldest son, Matt, experienced several issues that ultimately compelled him to leave the family and the program. Personal problems, addiction, and a complicated connection with his family. These have damaged his reputation and made his life more difficult than the jungle survival shown on TV. When Matt was younger, he was the most gregarious and active member of the Brown family. He frequently demonstrated an adventurous attitude, a sense of humor, and a willingness to take chances. Being the oldest son, he played a crucial part in assisting his parents and siblings in adjusting to life in the wilderness of Alaska. From hunting and gathering to helping to build dwellings and maintain their way of life in the forest, Matt had many duties since his family loved their independence and seclusion from the outside world. However, there were hints right on that Matt's life wasn't as peaceful as it appeared. In the backdrop, he battled to define himself in a home that emphasized harmony and adherence to their lifestyle. Matt's internal conflicts were more noticeable as he grew older, and he found it difficult to blend in with a rigid family's way of life. Matt's issues reached a breaking point when he became dependent on alcohol. He had few options for therapy or assistance because of his social isolation, and his drinking started to have a terrible effect on both his mental health and his relationships with his family. When he admitted himself into a rehab facility in 2016, his battles with addiction were first made public. Because of the intricate relationships within the family, Matt found it challenging to develop a steady recovery route, despite the fact that his parents, Billy and Amy Brown in particular, accepted the situation. Despite finishing treatment and making an effort to reintegrate into the family, his fight with addiction was obviously far from ended. Following his initial period of therapy, Matt made an effort to turn his life around and rejoin the show. Relapses and setbacks, however, hindered his recuperation and strained his connection with his family. The success of the program made his battles with addiction public, making it more harder for him to get well on his own. Even though supporters and watchers saw Matt's ongoing attempts to deal with his problems, the stress of leading such a famous life while juggling personal matters proved to be too much to handle. Although they provided some support, his family's comprehension and response to addiction were similarly inadequate. Asking for outside assistance went against their values of independence, which made Matt's already challenging trip even more challenging. Matt's connection with his family deteriorated as he battled addiction. Even though the Browns were kind, their tough love style might not have given Matt the support he needed. Tensions between him and his father, Billy, increased as his conduct became increasingly unpredictable. As the head of the family and the inspiration for their off-grid way of living, Billy had a clear idea of how the family should live and act in society. As this vision clashed with Matt's difficulties, their relationship became increasingly tense. While his family believed he was endangering their reputation and future, Matt felt misunderstood and abandoned. In the end, this distance caused Matt to become physically and emotionally distant from the other members of the family. Matt's addiction problems reappeared in 2018, forcing him to put himself into treatment a second time. During this crucial time in his life, he came to the realization that in order to reclaim control, he would have to make more substantial adjustments. He decided to leave the Alaskan Bush People and the family's land so that he could concentrate fully on his recovery. This change was noteworthy because it marked a break from the program and the life he had known since he was a little boy. For a while, Matt provided fans with social media updates on his progress, giving the impression that he was dedicated to changing for the better. He took some time to think back on his life and resolve the problems that caused him to become addicted. However, Matt started to disclose more negative aspects of his life with the Browns as he started talking more candidly about his experiences. He said that behind the scenes, he was mistreated and manipulated. His relationship with his family deteriorated as a result of these revelations, which touched on topics like control, celebrity, and the pressures of reality TV. Matt claims that the family's narrative and image were meticulously constructed, and he felt obliged to uphold a particular public image, even if it wasn't totally accurate. He talked about how he felt taken advantage of by both his family and the show's makers, saying that his hardships were minimized or utilized for amusement. These accusations further complicated Matt's account by implying that his difficulties were not just personal, but were worsened by his living and working conditions. Due to his departure from the program and the harsh dynamics of his family, Matt was left to start over on his own. He had to navigate a world that was significantly different from the one he had known as a boy after leaving the farm. He faced particular challenges as he attempted to manage his recovery on his own, without his family's help. He kept giving supporters updates while being forthright and honest about his path, his previous mistakes, and his future objectives. In many respects, fans were moved by Matt's candor about his difficulties because it showed them the more kind, approachable side of the Brown's tough, survivalist persona. Although his openness about his recovery process was wonderful, it also demonstrated how disconnected he was from his previous family life. When Matt's father, Billy Brown, died in 2021, his journey got even more complicated. Matt was absent at Billy's death, a momentous occasion for the family, and one that may have provided an opportunity for reconciliation. He was eventually cut off from the world he had known when the family moved in with Alaskan Bush People without Matt. Matt has largely avoided the spotlight in his present life. He moved to California after his recovery, and he has since posted tidbits of information about his life on social media, emphasizing his path to sobriety and improved mental health. Rumor has it that he has a new girlfriend as well. Matt's assessed net worth, taking into account his previous employment with the Alaskan Bush People, as well as his later hardships and recuperation, is $100,000. In contrast to his brothers, Matt's personal fortune is quite small, although some sources indicating that his family's total net worth may be far larger. Even though Matt and his family are still not close, he still shares his story with followers who encourage him to pursue self-awareness and recovery. Even though his life has been complex and full of highs and lows, he has consistently demonstrated a resolve to face his problems and accept responsibility for his actions. The narrative of Matt Brown's decline, as some may refer to it, is about more than just addiction. It's also about acceptance, progress, and recovery. Even though he might never completely resume his previous way of life, he has found strength in his independence and is still striving for a future that suits him.